It's mid-February, a time when people are thinking that spring is just around the corner, and many are making plans for summer vacations. It's also a time when those gung-ho individuals who resolved on January 1st to lose weight, get fit, stop smoking, or save more money are losing their motivation. In fact, only about 8% of Americans who make New Year's resolutions actually keep them long enough to attain their goals. Why is that? Brett Blumenthal has an idea. She's the author of the book 52 Small Changes for the Mind.
The reason I've heard is that a lot of people try to take on too much at once. So, they go to the gym 5-6 days a week and they spend an hour and a half there, and then they cut out all their favorite foods at once. So they end up burning out really fast because trying to make all those drastic changes all at once, it's too much.
Another reason Blumenthal cites is that people who make big resolutions often don't understand all the changes they have to make to keep them.
When you think about larger changes, they usually don't come in one big heap. You're usually needing to do many, many little things. So I think people have this big picture idea. I'm going to lose, 100 pounds, or I'm going to become a happier person, or whatever you want as your change. And it just doesn't happen overnight. And so people can become discouraged if they're not seeing any progress.
Blumenthal advocates changes that help the mind. One of them is to silence your inner critic. This doesn't mean you should give up reassessing your goals and making changes to them.
The inner critic that I'm speaking of specifically is the critic that's extremely negative. So, for instance, it's very easy for us to think about getting upset with ourselves if we do something silly like leaving our keys upstairs when we're trying to leave the house. So instead of saying to yourself, how could I be so stupid to leave my keys upstairs? Oh, I'm such an idiot. That's the kind of negative self-talk I'm talking about. More than, I think I could afford to lose 10 pounds. I think I should go on a diet. I'm going to feel better about myself if I do that. That's a very different type of criticism. So it's the day-to-day when we're constantly talking negatively about ourselves or putting ourselves down or finding fault with ourselves that I'm specifically discussing when I say silence your inner critic.
Akeem Novak says that in our busy world, we tell ourselves that we have to keep doing more all the time. Novak is the author of the book The Moment, a practical guide to creating a mindful life in a distracted world. He suggests that when we set a new goal, we need to look at it in relation to all the other ones we have.
For each goal, also decide what you're willing to let go of. I'm always scared when people have too many goals. We set ourselves up to fail. So that's a good point to, I think, just start the conversation.
For example, if one of your resolutions is to ride your bike 1 mile a day, Novak says to figure out how that will actually fit into your lifestyle before you plunge in.
I'm a great believer in simple experiments. So if this was your goal, I would say is, why not a 1 mile bike ride once a week on the weekend? And discover a way of making that pleasurable for yourself. When I hear once a day for a mile, I'm already getting stressed out. That's a lot, especially if I have a lot of other things going on during the day. So proceed gently. The only other thing that comes to mind, if we habitually fail with very simple goals, then that's a habit or a pattern, and we need to look at why that's happening. That's a little bit of psychological homework. But the deeper part is, I think we work way too hard. I really want to encourage us to return to a simpler, easier, more childlike way of enjoying the world, which is not over goal setting ourselves.
Speaking of approaching our lives with a more childlike attitude, Blumenthal lists play as one of the small changes we can make. She's a mom, and so she's able to experience firsthand how play helps you get more joy out of life while you're trying to reach your goals.
When we spend time playing, and that can be anything from like going out with friends, playing a game, it actually helps us become happier. Engaging in play can transform negative thoughts and feelings into those that are more constructive and positive, and stresses such as paying bills and challenges sort of become secondary and background. So it kind of gives us a vacation from our life when we are able to take a step and just focus on something fun.
Both Blumenthal and Novak say that in order to ease our minds, reduce stress, and create an environment more conducive to change, we should try to put aside the clutter in our busy lives, if only for a short time.
When we're faced with too much noise, we experience sort of a biological stress response. They've actually done studies. One was done out near Munich airport, and they had students in the school near two different sites because they were moving the airport. And when the students in the school near the currently working up and running airport had been assessed, they had the higher levels of the stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, compared to the students at the closed airport. So noise can be extremely distracting from a productivity perspective, can increase stress because it doesn't give you the time and peace to relax.
One very simple thing I want to urge all of us to do is on any given day when we run from meeting to meeting, activity and activity, give yourself 5 minutes of transition time so everything isn't running together. And in the transition, we take a breath. We pause. We do not check emails. We do not go on Facebook. We really just stop for a moment. That's one way of beginning to slow down. Anybody who listens to meditates knows the benefits of meditating in the morning. And that can feel like another goal. And you may have mornings where you go, gosh, I don't feel like meditating today. And maybe in that morning you really don't need to meditate. But what meditation does, it tends to slow down our breathing. It tends to slow down the chatter in the mind. We get more into our bodies, and we have a sense of calm and peace that hopefully we carry into the rest of the day.
Making a change in life, such as moving ahead on that resolution you made 6 weeks ago, shouldn't be done on a whim without a deep connection to your psyche. Blumenthal says that losing weight, for example, because your doctor suggests it, often isn't enough to see you through the long haul.
I always encourage people to, when they set goals, find an emotional piece that will motivate them through their journey. So, for instance, in the case of losing weight, maybe you're at an age where your child is going to be either graduating from high school or college, or they're going to be having a child soon and you're going to be a grandparent. Finding something where you're saying, I want to be healthy for my grandchild, or I want to be healthy and be able to see my child graduate from college, or whatever is the emotional connection for you, tying that change to something that's going to motivate you is extremely important in any goal-setting endeavor.
Novak agrees and says that when you set a goal, don't just write it down and get going on it. He suggests that you take the time to give it some deeper thought.
If you set goals, let's say, bicycling for a mile a day or going to the gym and exercising, which could sound like fun or could sound like torture, is drop into some deeper meaning that allows you to enjoy it in a different way. And I think you're going to be more likely to persist.
Blumenthal adds that it takes anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks of working on a goal before it becomes routine. She also says that you should strive for small successes early on to boost your motivation and lower the frustration levels. Novak says that if you make a goal but tie it to something you don't like, such as lifting weights, you're less likely to achieve it. If, on the other hand, you enjoy riding your bike, use that as your vehicle to a fitter body and mind. You can find many suggestions on creating a mindful life in a distracted world in Akeem Novak's book, The Moment, available now. You can also log on to his website at influence.com. For a year's worth of little changes you can make in your life to help improve your memory, minimize stress, and boost happiness, pick up Brett Blumenthal's book, 52 Small Changes for the Mind. She invites listeners to visit her website at sheerbalance.com. For more information about all of our guests, log on to our site at viewpointsonline.net. You can find an archive of past programs there and on iTunes and Stitcher. Our show is written and produced by Pat Reuter. Our production directors are Sean Waldron and Reed Pence. I'm Marty Peterson.
Power to the fruit. New Fruitocracy squeezable fruit pouches from Dole celebrate a world where self-expression, individuality, and creativity reign above all. All natural fruit shines in this inspiring new snack. It's made from the real fruit you want and free of what you don't. Never any high fructose corn syrup and no genetically modified or engineered ingredients. Fruitocracy cares about what's inside above all else, So each squeezable pouch is packed with the real fruit that tweens crave. With Fruitocracy, tweens are free to express their individuality and pick the fruit pouch that best showcases their unique personal style. There's 6 delicious flavors to choose from, like apple mixed berry, apple pineapple, apple cherry, or good ol' apple, all in vibrant designs. So go ahead, encourage your tween to enjoy Fruitocracy, a snack that's as real as can be, just like them. Head to Fruitocracy.com for more.